So it's a good evening to you all, or whether it's a good afternoon or good morning, wherever you are watching this live stream. We're bringing you live for the DOMSORL Tribute to Bathurst 250. One-off occasion presented by DOMSORL Dreams of Motorsport Online Racing League, which is the L. One-off occasion presented by the group, hosted by X3 and Z or Kane. Putting this event together where we will be racing in the popular Mustang Group 3s around Mount Panorama Bathurst. Special occasion here, one off. It's going to be fun. We got 14 out of 16. Actually, now we've got 15 out of 16. Beautiful. Always good to have those extra numbers come through. So almost a full grid for this evening's event. Cannot wait to see how we go this evening, but for the first part of this stream is going to be the shootout. So a one-lap shootout amongst our drivers this evening. So one lap they have to go around the track, out lap, warm yourself up, know where your braking markers are, and then as soon as you get to the Murray's Corner for the final time, you'll be off for your hot lap. It's going to be very exciting. We've got a few tribute liveries as we see here on the right hand side, so let's go through some of them. We've got myself and Spud P666 in the 2005 Russell Ingall Stone Brothers Racing Caltex Vortex car number 9, where he won his championship in 2005, surprisingly without winning a race all season long. Consistency, and that's where the motto goes. Consistency is key for winning a championship, and that's where Russell Ingall managed to prove his doubters wrong and seal that championship at Phillip Island. Then we have Gas Monkey 78 in the classic Vodafone livery, 888 livery from the 2008 era. He's running the 888 number, where Lowndes and Whincup got themselves the coveted three-peat of the 888 era, which propelled them onwards to winning championships and numerous titles and numerous Bathurst 1000s as the years go by. Then we had Pearsy 23 in the Better Electrical, so this is where it all started for 888. The Better Electrical bright yellow and blue Ford Falcon BA, where famously Craig Lowndes won on the day, as the quote says, Craig Lowndes won on the day he farewelled his friend in 2006. So beautiful memories, awesome race, that one. I remember watching that and being very emotional after Peter Brock's sudden passing only a few months prior before the Bathurst 1000. And it was a very emotional day amongst the supercars field and for the fans and the fans in general of motorsport. Griffo Tony 62 will be running the Shell V-Power livery that we currently see in the DJR camp. Griffo Tony will be running that livery in the number 12, so it's kind of like the Fabian Coulthard livery. And we have Robo Sport running the 56 Mega Fuels that was driven by Jason Bright in 2016 and 17. 2016, before he got shafted to make way for Richie Stanaway, who joined the team in 2017 and 2018, or 2017, before he ventured out to Gary Rogers in 2018. So the Mega Fuels car is being run by RoboSport, car 56. Hellblazer 420 is running the Monster Energy backed Cam Waters Mustang. So basically kind of real life in a way, where that car number 6, the Cam Waters James Moffat Estuary, has actually secured pole position for the great race. So that will be broadcasted tomorrow morning at 11:15 a.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time. So he'll be doing that car justice, and he'll want to win this race this evening. And then we have Roddy Dongs in the Pepsi Max livery, the 2013, 2014, and 15 era of the Pepsi Max for Ford Performance Racing. It'll be sporting those colours where that team with those Pepsi Max colours took 2 victories in a row. It looked set to take victory in 2015 as well, but unfortunately some plagued issues, especially in the number 6 Chaz Mostert entry, crashed before it made the qualifying and before it made the great race. And unfortunately for that team, they did not get anywhere near the grid. It was actually funny enough, they actually posted images and wheels and a steering wheel and the driver pretending to sit down on the grid. But unfortunately that car, number 6, did not make it. Frosty made it, but unfortunately did not get himself a victory on that special race. I believe that might be it. So Dids is running a Castrol Racing, so Ford Performance, Tickford Racing backed Castrol Racing, but a different colour scheme for Sir Did 72. So what could be, who knows, the new colours of Castrol Racing in the future. Who knows, we shall wait and see. But we are getting ourselves ready for the shootout. 15 drivers ready to go. 1 lap, 1 chance to get yourself on pole position here for the DOMSORL Tribute to Bathurst 250. 41 laps coming up after the shootout. So that'll be a long race ahead for our drivers this evening. And we cannot wait to tackle the mountain just like the big boys will be doing tomorrow morning in the Bathurst 1000. Unfortunately, today was a bit of a rain out. So I think from around 2 p.m. onwards, it was monstrous and continuous rain at Mount Panorama, and it just did not stop at all. We saw the Toyota 86s go around the track and piloting themselves around the slippery surface of the 6.213 kilometre circuit. But then as soon as the Toyota 86s finished their race, it was all cancellations. Porsche Carrera Cup, I should say, cancelled their race 2. Super 2 cancelled their race 2. And then we were all waiting and praying for the supercars to at least have a shootout and to at least have some sort of running on the track. But just before 5 o'clock, Australian Eastern Daylight Time, the officials called the cancellation of the top 10 shootout. So the top 10 that made it through qualifying and made their way into the top 10 shootout, deservingly made their way into the top 10 shootout, will be staying put in those positions they did qualifying. So Cam Waters and James Moffat will be on pole position alongside Lee Holdsworth, last year's winner, alongside Chaz Mostert in the 25. Walkinshaw and Andretti United Commodore is now jumped ship into the number 10 Penrite's Racing, Grove Racing entry alongside the debuting Matt Payne. So we cannot wait to see how those two square up on the grid. Maybe Lee Holdsworth could get himself a back-to-back victory. We will hope to wait and see, but it's a long race, 161 kilometres. But for now, for us, we've only got 41 laps, so 250 kilometres around this track. Used to be 250 kilometres, especially for the Super 2 races. Unfortunately, at the end of 2019, they decided to split that race in half and settle in for 225 kilometre races. But what we saw as well in 2021, we actually saw the Bathurst debuting in the Supercars Championship and running 250 kilometre races as well, 250 kilometre races, which was pretty awesome to see the cars running at Bathurst for the opening race. But as we look on track, we have our first runner onto the track here. We have Roddy Dogs, also known as Timmy Pearce. As I said, in the Castrol, in the Pepsi Max entry. Car number 5, Rich Bottom and Richard's entry. The entry that won the Bathurst 1000 in 2013. An awesome race for Mark Winterbottom and Stephen Richards, where he was fending off Jamie Whincup and Paul Dumbrell. in those last 20 laps, the gaps were about at least 10, about 20 laps within, and within those 20 laps there's always a second or under a second gap, which was immense battling, immense racing. The concentration amongst those guys was incredible. And it produced the famous quote that Neil Crompton used to say, "Hold your breath, Australia," and return to it, Griffin's Bend. So as he settles in, gets his warm-up done, we'll just take this chance to look at what we're going to be experiencing. A one-lap shootout for our 15 drivers this evening. One lap, then you park it up, jump back into the pit lane, and then our drivers will be ready to set sail for 41 laps. But Roddy Dongsor is the first driver to come out onto the track to set his first lap as he enters the chase. Let's wait and see how he goes. So here we go, the first lap that is going to be set by Roddy Dongs, car number 5, the Ford Performance Pepsi Max entry, going into turn 1 very nicely there, just getting the inside curving, doesn't run the car right out to the exit of Hell Corner. Now he's got a long stretch up Mountain Straight as he starts to take his breath in and plan what is coming up for the rest of the 6-kilometre track that lays ahead of him. A 19.0 for his first sector there, brakes hard just after the 100-metre board. Try and tuck it into Griffin's Bend, doesn't make the inside curve but runs it out very nicely on the wide exit. Oh, he plucks first gear and he just loses control of his Ford Mustang Group 3, and that just sends the rear end of the car just almost going a 360. So I believe this must be Roddy Dong's first laps this evening in this car. So he hasn't had a chance to get a practice in early on as he negotiates with the Gr3 and McPhillamy with the car still in one piece. As he runs the car wide onto the grass, takes the Scott McLaughlin line but keeps it at 1. Doesn't make the car go spinning around, so that's 2 occasions where he's almost lost the car. Now going through the dip here, now he's being a little bit more cautious here. He doesn't want to really throw away the lap, because even if you set yourself a bad lap, it could still put you up the grid, because there are other drivers coming along. There are another 15 drivers coming along for this event. Exiting the Forest Elbow and then down Conrod Straight. This is where you can just breathe, relax, and see what he can get at the end of Conrod Straight going into the chase. Plucking into 6th gear, just going under the banner. His sector time 1:37 flat, not the fastest that we've seen. Doesn't use that extra strip going into the kink before the chase. Brakes hard and plucks it into 2nd gear. Takes a bit of a narrower line there, just clips a bit of grass there on the exit of the chase, and then going into Murray's Corner, the crucial corner to set yourself for a very good lap here. Whoa, he's losing that car, and it's not going to be... He's going to set a benchmark time, and he's just gone a full 360 as he clips the grass there. 2 minutes 7.653. So probably not the best lap we've seen from Roddy Dongs, but it's still enough to get himself a good time on the board, and we'll wait and see what the rest of the group can do, whether his time can be eclipsed pretty easily, or whether we'll see a driver clip the wall and sustain damage on the suspension, or whether they get engine damage. We'll have to wait and see. So Gr3 Lightning is next, car 55 in the Coca-Cola entry. We see the Coca-Cola in the 22 for the Premier Racing Team, piloted by Chris Pither and Cameron Hill. But now we're actually seeing it on the Mustang, the Coca-Cola entry for Gr3 Lightning. So we look to go for the exterior shot for Gr3 Lightning to start his hot lap. As he negotiates Murray's Corner very nicely there, no sign of wheel spin at all, and he starts his lap going to Hell Corner. There are some dark clouds rolling in here, so our drivers want to make sure they get their laps in nice and early so they avoid that heavy cloud cover. Beautiful exit out of Hell Corner there, and that set him up for a perfect run up the hill there. Very clean exit. He gets himself under the banner. He's only 0.017 up, so Not as fast as Roddy Dong's lap, just quicker, but they're about evenly paced, and this is where Roddy Dong's made the mistake. So Briz needs to make sure he gets the cutting right. Suggested gear would probably be about second gear. Run it wide towards the wall there on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, and then bring the car back in. Swing the car back in through Solomon and Reed. Very nicely done there. Want to keep the car flat till here. As soon as you get to the grade, just lift off slightly, and then back onto the throttle as quickly as you can. Nicely done there through McPhillamy. Just run the car on the curbing, not too much. Don't take that Scott McLaughlin line. And he's done that. Look at that. He's almost 2 seconds up on Roddy Dong's. A little bit hesitant coming down the hill there through the S's. And then the dip up. Very nicely executed. Very tricky. And the Group 3 Mustangs, you really have to turn the car in just a little bit more. You really got to slow that car down, as it can be a little bit, it can be risk versus reward with the dip up. Nice exit through Forest Elbow and down Conrod straight, just taking his time. He knows he's up. He's seen his delta time. It's all about him just negotiating this part of Conrod and then down through the chase. 3 seconds up on Roddy Dong, so this is going to be a super quick lap. No matter what he does, if he makes a mistake, he'll still be quicker than Roddy Dong's. Executes the chase very nicely. Did not see any signs of clipping on the curb there, so he went around it and did himself a very good job. And then through Murray's corner, the crew, short corner, the key corner, he runs it a little bit too narrow there. So he just took too much of the inside curbing and he took the middle line instead of the right-hand side. It sets him up for a 2-minute 3.4, so he smashed the time set by Roddy Dongs, but he compromised himself going through Murray's corner there. He actually went on the middle of the track, and unfortunately, I think that's where he would have lost a lot of time. He did not take the right-hand side of the track. He did not use the full width of the track before Murray's corner. Next up is Golden Alpine, also known as Uncle Mark, car number 30. Peter Jackson livery, vertical replica. A few extra modern logos with the ticketed logo. But a very nicely presented livery, no matter what. So just remind the viewers, this is the DOMSORL Dreams of Motorsport Online Racing League tribute to Bathurst 250 with our top 15 shootout. So far setting the pace is Briz Lightning 55, Golden Alpine is next. We've had 2 runners, this is our 3rd runner. We can't wait to see what his lap times can be. He's a little bit on the back foot, hasn't had too much practice, but we'll wait and see what Uncle Mark can do. Going through Hell Corner, just puts it on the middle of the track there, so he's not really using the full width of the track. So I've noticed a few drivers not using that full width, they're just a little bit hesitant. I think they might just get that car on the grass and then might not be able to execute their perfect line. No sector times popped up, so it doesn't look like he's faster than Briz Lightning, so he might be just down on Briz's time. We'll wait and see as we go for the onboard shot with Golden Alpine. So let's wait and see what he can do. Around the cutting, just runs it a little bit too slow there, but just uses the full width of the track on the exit. What's he like through here? Off the throttle. Oh, nearly clips the wall on the inside. Nearly put him in that sequence of getting damage. Through McPhillamy, very nice entry through McPhillamy there. Not fast, but he's got himself a really good run there. No timing sectors popped up on his screen as well, so he's probably down on Briz Lightning's, but we'll have to wait and see what his lap time is compared to Roddy Dong's. Executed the dipper very nicely, and then through to Forest Elbow. Oh, a little bit of wheel work going through Golden Alpine's Ford Mustang. Obviously he hasn't got that car tuned up to his liking. It doesn't look like we'll be seeing a blistering lap from Golden Alpine, but will he stay ahead of Roddy Dongs, who currently occupies 2nd on the grid with plenty more runners to come through. Golden Alpine goes through to the chase very nicely there. Gets a bit of the curbing on the inside that will hamper his exit speed just a little bit. Under the Amaral Bridge into Murray's corner. Brakes really hard. You can see those brake discs glowing. Clips the inside curb there, which also hampers his progression to the finish line, but he's going to go a little bit faster than Roddy Dongs. He does, so he takes P2. of the Bathurst 250 Grand Prix coming up very shortly. Gr3 Tony's the next one in line. Shell V Power DJR Racing Team. Gr3 Tony set for his lap here. Number 12 DJR Shell V Power Racing Team executes, going through Hell Corner a little bit wider than most of the drivers there. I think the smoothest we saw was Roddy Dogs with the fastest sector one time. What has Gr3 Tony got up his sleeve? Going up Mountain Straight, he looks to improve. No, he doesn't, so he's not set a purple sector. So far that sector time goes to Roddy Dogs there. So Roddy Dogs has set himself a good sector one for other drivers to chase. Points that car nice and straight going through the cutting. Oh, it just wags the tail a little bit on the outside there, but he holds the car straight, runs it against the wall, scrapes the wall, try and cuts the inside through Saltman and Reed, and then now through to the great cars, runs wide towards the Armour All wall, runs the car all the way up towards McPhillamy, has a little bit of a hesitation with the steering wheel there going through McPhillamy, and now through Skyline he's up. He's actually faster than Briz Lighting, so he's found a lot of time compared to Briz, 0.1. He's setting the purple, he's setting the sectors alive, Gr3 Tony. Then into Forest Elbow we go. Like he almost got damaged there, but he didn't. He actually survived that. So I don't think that was the smoothest run that Gr3 Tony had, but the sector times will tell us different. Did he get himself a really good sector going down the hill? He has done. So he's 0.3 up on Briz Lightning's time. So we might see a 2-minute 3 flat. We'll wait and see what Gr3 Tony can do through here. Briz was actually quite fast through this section, through the chase and Murray's Corner. So we'll wait and see what Gr3 Tony can do. Past the Armour All Bridge and into Murray's Corner, braking hard. At his second bite off the brakes there, he runs the car a little bit wide there, too much onto the grass. Will that hamper his time? Will that hamper him getting pole position? No, it doesn't. He smashes the pole, he smashes the time set by Briz Lightning 55. He's the first driver into the 2-minute 2. It's a beautiful lap there by Gr3 Tony and putting 0.5 on Briz Lightning. So well done to the number 12 driver. As we look through to Scorpion Beans, who's out on his hot lap in the Super Cheap Auto entries. This is another tribute livery to the Chaz Mostert era, when he used to run in the Super Cheap Auto cars after stepping back, after Pepsi Max stepped back from sponsoring the team. And making it instead of making it a 2-car, they made it a 4-car entry. And then each driver had their own sponsors, as we saw Jason Bright with the mega sponsors, Chaz Mostert with the Super Cheap Auto, Mark Winterbottom with the Bottle Low sponsorship. The number 6 Cam Waters running the Monster Energy livery. But here we go. Scorpion Beans through practice has been showing some good practice, especially on his medium tyres. So we'll wait and see what Scorpion can do. Can he get himself up into the front row, or even better, pole position? Really got through Hell Corner very nicely there. As we see Scorpion Beans and the 55 coming up towards the first sector. Doesn't get the fastest sector time, so that still belongs to Roddy Dogs. So Roddy, he's still got that first sector time covered amongst the rest of the field there. So he was the one with the perfect entry through Hell Corner. past Griffins, and now into the cutting for Scorpion. Runs the car a little bit too wide there, just had a little bit of a dab on the brakes just to get the car turned in. Runs the car along the wall. Doesn't clip the apexes as much as what some drivers would do. Oh, he nearly understeered through before McPhillamy there. He nearly understeered into that corner. It was really close. We could see that you could hear the tyres just chirping away and just begging. Oh, he's made a little bit of a mistake. He's locked the rear tyres and he saved the car. He's still locked. He's still sliding the car around through the dipper. It's not going to be the best sector split for Scorpion. He won't see it on his dash what his lap time is compared to Gr3, but from what I can see, it doesn't look to be the fastest. I'll wait and see as the sector timing is just before the banner at the top of the hill here. So down Conrod Straight for Scorpion Beans. Does he get himself into the purple? No, he doesn't. So he's down on Gr3, so it probably won't be the best lap. It won't be a lap for pole position, but will this get him ahead of Briz Lightning and into second place? Nicely done through the chase, and then into Murray's corner. Think where you're going to brake before you turn the car in. Don't clip the curving too much. Run it right out to the curbs on the right hand side. He's done that very nicely. Won't be a 2-minute 2. He will get himself into the 2-minute 4s. So that won't be enough to be on the front road. That front road is still occupied by Scorpion Beans, by Gr3 and Briz Lightning. Scorpion Beans will be occupying third place on the grid. Now we've got the onboard view. Thanks for the suggestion there, Osto. Ticking out so we can get the onboard view. That's much better. So Osto 101, the leader of Net Racing in DOMSORL. Boss running his own livery, his own colours, sponsored by Net Whiskey. And wanting to make sure he gets that car up the front of the grid at the end of the 41 laps coming up very shortly. But Osto 101 looked very comfortable in the car through practice, but now he's got one lap to make sure he can solidify that pace and get himself on pole position. Exiting Murray's corner and onto the pit straight. Osto's lap is now about to begin as he enters Hell Corner for the second time round, but hopefully at the second time is the charm to get himself pole position. Went a little bit too wide on the exit of Hell Corner. So it's compromising his speed a little bit as he goes through the first sector. Doesn't trigger the purple sector, so he's also down on Roddy Dong's time. So if there's a time where Roddy Dongs wants to brag about sector times or being fast, he can brag about being fast in sector 1 out from Mount Panorama. Oh, runs the car a little bit too deep. Could not get the car turned in. Just understeered through the cutting. Didn't look nice for the 101 Ford Mustang, and he just clips the wall there. No, he actually escaped it. So very close there from Osto as we go for the onboard look for Osto going through McPhillamy. Had to downshift to 4th gear just to get the car turned around, just to get the car turned into McPhillamy. And now through Skyline, doesn't look very comfortable for Osto. It's a little bit slower compared to the rest of the grid. We'll wait and see if that gets him into second or third. I think what I'm seeing in our deltas, it looks like it's going to be enough just to be ahead of Scorpion and just behind Briz Lightning, but we'll wait and see what his last sector can produce. Osto 101, the team owner of Net Racing, coming up towards sector 3, doesn't trigger the purple, so he's down on Gr3's time. So Gr3, the 4th driver in the queue, has so far leading the way for pole position. Coming through Murray's corner for the final time. Can he get himself up further towards the grid? Can he be on the front row? He needs to beat himself in 2-minute 3. He does so, 2 minute 3 flat, so that is provisional P2. So just ahead of Briz Lightning there, not far off from Gr3 Tony there, so very close between Osto and Gr3 Tony, so very nicely done there for Osto 101 to be so close to Gr3 Tony. But I have the feeling the sector coming down here through the S's on the dip, but that really costs Osto a chance of pole position. Next in line, car 54, Pat G65 in the tribute Ford Falcon livery. Off Ford dealers, this is when Moffat was running around Mount Panorama. 7-time and 6-time winner of Mount Panorama. And Pat G, we wanted to make sure he gets that car up on the front row. Through practice, he's been pretty quick. So we'll wait and see if he can get himself pole position, provisional pole position. With plenty more runners to come, ladies and gentlemen. We're only just getting started here. 16 drivers this evening, and we've got so many more drivers to go through to the end of qualifying. Pat G coming up towards Mountain Straight. Does he trigger the purple sector coming through here? No, oh yes he does. So he's 0.14 faster than Gr3 Tony. So he's actually gained time on Gr3 Tony, and he also gained time on Roddy Dongs through sector 1. So that's the fastest sector we've seen, and Pat G is going through very nicely. So he's into the 18s in sector 1. Executes cutting very nicely. They took the tight line, didn't run the car wide on the exit. Wanted to keep that tight narrow line just for the fast entry. Executing, going through Solomon and Reed, past Gr3, and now up to McPhillamy very nicely there. So looks very stable. He runs the car wide. Oh, he's almost binned it. He almost went onto the gravel trap, and that is gonna cost him a chance of pole position. That sector time did not lit up for Pat G65, so he's definitely down on Gr3's time. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the fastest sector of the top 16 shootout. So Pat G's got a lot of work to do on this last half, going down Conrod Straight, through the chase, and then to Murray's Corner to finish his lap. But can he get himself anywhere near Gr3 Tony's time? So that really cost him. Doesn't trigger the sector time as well, so he's down on Gr3 Tony. So this is going to be huge for Pat G. Showed some really good pace in qualifying and just mucked it up at McPhillamy and could not get the car turned in, just drifted the car wide. But coming through to Murray's Corner for the final time. Can he be later on the brakes? Can he get the car turned in? He's just sliding on the exit of Murray's Corner, but can he get himself into the 2 minute 2s? He doesn't. He does actually. A 2 minute 2.7. So wow, he gained everything he needed in that last sector through the chase and through and past Murray Corner. So that's the new benchmark, ladies and gentlemen. 2 minute 2.741 set by Pat G65, car 54. Really lost it at the top of McPhillamy there, so I was very surprised he did not go into the gravel trap. He saved it, got back on the power, kept his head down, kept composed, and he wanted to make sure the chase and Murray's Corner was all his. And boy, he delivered 0.2 faster than Gr3 Tony. So here comes Robbo Sport, car 56, sporting the Jason Bright Mega Fuels entry. About to commence his hot lap around Mount Panorama, this 6.213 kilometre circuit as we go for the onboard shot for Robbo Sport. So let's sit back and let's enjoy the first few corners with Robbo Sport in silence. Listen to the sound of the V8 Ford Mustang Gr3. RoboSport is off. RoboSport's lap is done. He just had a moment going through the S's, and that is RoboSport's hot lap over and out for this top 16 shootout. Wow, he did not make it right. Oh, he's just struggling to keep the car on the track there. He's getting multiple damage on his car. He's got left front and right front suspension as well as front splitter damage. But RoboSport's lap was heavily compromised by the understeer through Griffin's Bend, and then just unfortunately clipping the wall before McPhillamy, and unfortunately that set his hot lap apart from being a pole position lap to what will be the rear of the grid. But we'll wait and see as he completes his lap. Might not be the rear, but I think it will be, unfortunately. He's into the 2-minute 2s before Murray's corner, so that will put RoboSport racing at the rear of the grid. So car 56 to Jason Bright, Mega Fuels entry, will be starting last unless somebody else makes a worse mistake than RoboSport. So an unfortunate 2-minute 13 for Robo. He'll be kicking himself there. He's 11 seconds slower than the pole sitter in Pat G65. Very unfortunate for RoboSport Racing. Could have been a very good lap there, but I think just the mistake into turn 2 into Griffin's really hampered his momentum and really did not get his confidence at all once he exited turn 2. That just went from bad to worse for him on his end. And unfortunately, 2-minute 13 won't get you pole position, but one man who could get pole position, Hellblazer 420, replicating the car number 6, Tickford Racing Monster Energy Cam Waters Mustang. So he may have watched the qualifying on Friday. He got inspired by Cam Waters to get his car provisional pole position, which turned into pole position at the end of Saturday's running of the non-running top 10 shootout, and the provisional pole sitter turned out to be a pole position for the Bathurst 1000 tomorrow. So maybe some inspiration will come towards Hellblazer for snatching pole position away from Pat G, but going through Griffin's Bend. Very nicely done. Lifting off the throttle there just to do a little bit of engine braking going into the cutting there. Executed that very nicely there. So didn't trigger the first sector timing split, but this is where Pat G lost it all going through McPhillamy. So all Hellblazer needs to do is get himself a nice run through McPhillamy, and then he'll be able to get himself up onto the pole position. So through McPhillamy he goes. This is the crucial part. He's gone through there a lot faster, so he's definitely gained some time on Pat G, but the sector timing hasn't popped up. So I wonder if Pat G just had enough, and maybe Hellblazer was a little bit hesitant on the throttle going through the Gr3 and McPhillamy, and unfortunately did not trigger the timing split. So he's down on Pat G's time. Hellblazer 420 coming up to sector 3. Does he trigger it now? He doesn't, so he's not able to improve on his time whatsoever. So he has it all to do in this last section, through the chase and through Murray's corner. This is where Pat G was super strong in his 54 Ford Mustang. Doesn't look like he's going to get himself into the 2-minute 2s. No, it's actually going to be slower. So, a shock here. Well, we saw Hellblazer do some really good laps in practice. Unfortunately, could not transfer that to the top 16 shootout, and that's his qualifying over. And a very shocking performance there by Hellblazer 420. Looked to be up there with the front runners in the overall session of the practice, and unfortunately, when it mattered most, could not get anywhere near the time that he set in practice, which was a 2-minute 1 lap. So it's very interesting enough to see the lap times are quite slower through practice. Practice was a very sunny event. No cloud cover, so in theory this is where you should be getting the most grip out of the cars, especially in these beastie V8 Mustangs, you really want to plant the power down, as you want to make sure the rear sticks to the ground with that massive wing on the back of it, and get the car turned around very nicely. But the V8 engine of Sir Dids 72 is about to start his lap. Can he get himself near Pat G? He's also been showing some strong performances, Sir Dids 72. Not just in practice, but throughout DOMSORL and in general. Drives a Swan Racing, and he's been showing some really good performances in any category of racing he does for Swan Racing. He's a really strong driver, and he's one driver that's going to lead the future of that team. But Sir Dids comes through turn 2 now for the Castrol Racing Ford Mustang. Doesn't trigger the sector 1 timing split. So he's down on the time. Oh, he just runs it a little bit too deep there and just goes towards the wall on the right-hand side. That's where it gets really dirty, ladies and gentlemen. That's where all the marbles are. Once you get on the marbles, there is no point of return. And unfortunately for Sir Dids, it's not going to be a competitive lap for him unless he really nails this next section through the S's and the dipper through the Forest Elbow. So it doesn't trigger the second split. So still the fastest man in sector 2 is Gr3 Tony. So Gr3 had a monstrous run through that sector split on the exit of the cutting, or the exit of Griffins through to Skyline. And you can just see there, he's just hesitant on getting on the throttle there, Sir Dids 72. And unfortunately for him, he's not able to get that car planted or where he wants to have that car. So looks to be back to the drawing board for Castrol Racing Team and for the Swan driver in Sir Dids 72. Oh, I saw him try to go really deep going into the chaser. He just went a few meters too long, and you can see the car just really escaping from him and the rear end just sliding going into the chase there. And he's also trying to going a little bit too deep again. He's just bunny hopped the inside curb, so that won't set him apart. So he'll still be in the 2 minute 4s. Not the best lap that we saw, and is actually slower than Hellblazer's lap. So he'll be behind Hellblazer for the 250 kilometer race coming up very shortly. BZ23 in the better electrical car, 111, the car that won the famous Bathurst 1000, where it all started, where the name, the Peter Brock Trophy, all came apart, came avail, where it started. What a truly special way to mark the occasion of the debuting Peter Brock Trophy, where Craig Lowndes and Jake Whincup won that special race over Rick Kelly and Todd Kelly. An awesome race in 2006. I do highly recommend you watch that, as that was a truly inspiring race. PZ23, also from Swan Racing. One of the key runners, one of their fast drivers in Swan. PZ23 is about to start his lap and comes through towards the Corner. Very nice executed, very fast there for Pearsy. So really used the exit strip on the Hell Corner, so that set him up for a really good run there. But does he trigger the sector time set by Pat G? No, he doesn't. So he's actually slower than Pat G through sector 1. So Pat G with that 18.9 was really quick there compared to Roddy Dons, who was second fastest. So I wonder, when drivers don't set a mark, when they don't see the sector timing come up on their screen, I wonder if that's just gives them a little bit of overconfidence and overdriving their Mustang to try and get themselves on pole position. But so far, Pearsy is doing himself a really good job. So Pearsy 23 clips the curbing, but gets that car turned in very nicely there, playing with the throttle there, runs the car too wide and he's off. Does he keep the car straight? He does. Sliding through the S's and through Skyline. Can he get the car stopped? He's trying desperately to get the car stopped or turned around. Oh, he's clipped the wall. And that's his qualifying over. Too much commitment on Pearsy's lap there. Really went for it as soon as he got off the grass and off the gravel trap, and he's off, and he's still making mistakes there. So Pearsy 23 after what looked to be a very strong sector in Sector 2, all came undone on the exit of McPhillamy and just caught the gravel. Like we saw with Pat G, he made a mistake at McPhillamy, but he kept it on the tarmac. Pearsey did not. And that's what's really cost Pearsey a chance to take pole position, one of the favourites to take pole position this evening. And unfortunately, that's his lap done and dusted. I do believe he will just be faster than RoboSport there, but he will be occupying the back row with RoboSport alongside him. Very unlucky lap there by Pearsey 23 at 2 minute 9.4. Not a lap time he would be really happy with, knowing his pace. Now we have Gas Monkey 78, known to be a very quick driver. One of the quicker drivers, one of the favourites to take pole position in this Bathurst 250, sporting the 888 Vodafone entry into the 2008 entry where they got the three peaks at Mount Panorama. Gas Monkey 78 going through the chase, about to set off for his hot lap. Let's wait and see what he can do as we go for the onboard shot with Gas Monkey, and let's wait and see what he can do. Sector 1. Oh, as we seem to have a few technical difficulty there, ladies and gentlemen, do apologise. Some technical glitches happening on my end, so I'll try to amend that very shortly.